Remember, your brain is not your friend. It doesn't care what your goals are, what you want to be in the future, or what grades you're getting. It is a lazy person who just wants to relax all the time. You know what to do. You have your goals, your ambitions. Yet you are not making any progress. Your grades are falling, and your parents don't believe in you anymore. Don't worry, mate. I had been through the same stages multiple times, and it is the worst condition to be in when you can't force yourself to study. You just don't feel like it. But I pushed through the noise and trained myself that now I can study with just a flick of the wrist. Whether my brains like it or not, I can make it study. That's why I have come up with these 5 simple yet battle-tested and powerful steps that can help you force your brain to study. But I want you to listen to the last one very carefully, because it is a reality check, which you might regret later on. So stick around till the end. You need to activate the easy mode of your brain. You might have times when you solve a math problem, which drives you to solve further, or the time when you clean a part of your room, but you don't stop until you clean the whole room. There is one simple reason: progress. Your brain loves the progress, but it hates the hard work. And whenever you see a difficult thing, your brain switches too. It's too hard. We don't need to do that, or we are fine with mediocrity. And before you can jump back, the day is already gone. This is where most students fail, but you won't. Most students overwhelm themselves thinking that they can finish everything in one go. But that single thought is the most dangerous. You don't need to overwhelm yourself. You just need to start, and that's when you activate the easy mode. You don't start with the hardest problem, you start with the easiest one. You don't start the chapter with the first topic, you start it with the easiest one. You don't start memorizing right away, you just highlight the important thing first. Remember what I said about momentum? Well, your brain gets the push with these tips, and I know this sounds easy, but it really is. Your brain is like a child that you have to train yourself. It doesn't care about you, all it cares about is what it is getting. And do you know the best reward for your brain? Well, it's dopamine, the chemical that fires you up and makes you binge watch an entire season on Netflix. That's why studying feels like a torture, because it doesn't give you instant dopamine. And to be honest, it is not your fault. It is your brain's nature to follow the dopamine hit. Now imagine a scenario where you are in a desert with no water and you are dying of thirst. Even a single glass of water can make it feel like heaven. However, since you are drinking water daily, you don't get the same feelings, right? The same goes for your brain as you give it cheap daily, so it doesn't feel good after a tedious day of work and tries to come up with excuses. Now you need to hijack and control the dopamine while making your brain feel good. You need to pair a dopamine hit with a hard activity. For instance, if you study for 30 minutes, you will watch one episode of your favorite season, and only when you complete your study session or set a goal of awarding yourself your favorite sweet after 1 hour of workout. Believe me, your brain will break through all the noise, and you will keep studying until you get the dopamine. Every student thinks that studying for hours is impossible. Well, it really is. If you are studying for hours straight, you won't get near to your goal or memorize anything if you just keep studying. That's because your brain zones out sooner or later. It is unfocused and can't focus on a single thing for more than an hour in this era of attention economy. And before you come to your senses, you realize that you have been staring at a blank page for 20 minutes. You have to realize that your brain is not a machine, and it can't run a marathon without stopping. If you try to push it over the edge, it will just shut down. In the end, you will have nothing retained in your memory, only hours wasted. What you need to do is start sprinting. You study with complete focus for 30 minutes, and then take a quick 5-minute break, and then you do it again and again. And eventually you would end up making progress much faster than sitting for an hour straight. You will be able to complete 2 hours of work in one sprint cycle. Once you start it, your focus will be around 25 to 30 minutes, and the best that you can get to is 40 minutes. After that, you will start slacking, and that's when you need to stop the sprint and take a break. This will not torture your brain at all, but the best part is you will not feel trapped in endless study sessions. But here's the secret tip. After you take your break, come back and actively recall what you had memorized earlier. This will shift the learning method from passive to active, making the sprinting even more fun. I know studying alone is very difficult because I was in the same waters. When you have no motivation, no urgency, and no pressure to study, your lazy mode automatically turns on. Your 5 minutes turn into 30 minutes and then hours. But you keep giving excuses that you will, 4:36, study tomorrow. Ever notice how you can goof around all semester but suddenly cram like a machine the night before an exam? That's because pressure forces focus. When there's something at stake, your brain locks in. But when there's nothing on the line, your brain slacks off. That's exactly why you need a challenge. Here's how you can challenge yourself. Hey, ask a friend in the same class to put up a challenge to get better marks on the next quiz. Whoever loses will pay for the winner's lunch. B, to make it really, and I mean really challenging. Bet your friend to post an embarrassing photo online if he gets lower grades, and you will do the same if you lose. These are just one of many examples. You can set a deadline for a task. If you don't complete it, you will tear down a $100 bill. I personally do this to control my negative habits, and it really works. Your brain is more responsive to pain rather than reward. So instead of a reward, bet a pain which will turn you into an academic weapon. This is just a reminder that you have forgotten the sacrifices of your parents. Look at your father. He's breaking his back to feed you. Your mother is washing your clothes and cooking food so you don't run out of energy. And look at yourself. What are you doing? Slacking off like a piece of crap, scrolling through social media, going to these 18+ websites for what? Just so your parents can be disappointed. Just so you can break their backs even more. I want you to imagine your loved one on their deathbed. They look at you and say, "You could have done a lot for us." Ask yourself, would you be proud? Would you be happy that you wasted your life satisfying yourself while the hands that helped you through the darkest of times died working? You both know what you are doing with your life, but it is up to you to decide whether you want to be a nobody and live a life of mediocrity or fulfill the dreams of your parents and snatch everything you deserve with the sheer power of will.